On today's episode of Guess Who's the Parent in the the hosts, John and Mike argue about age restrictions to porn on the internet. Oh, we're supposed to say like corn or something because YouTube doesn't like those words. Can you believe that, Mike?
You just spell it with the asterisk when you do the title or something.
Okay, I will too. It's an interesting subject. Definitely some strong opinions vented. Like and subscribe for more of this stuff. Enjoy the episode.
Say what I'm most looking forward to is the thumbnail Peter comes up with for this episode. So whoever clicks on this has already seen it. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh, and if look, we do sort of venture into that alpha podcast thing, which I see quite a bit. Like 3 guys try to solve porn. Like please forgive us for any transgressions that we make.
So true. I didn't even think about that.
I just want to start off by saying that for this particular episode, we usually do, well, Mike usually does a little intro, which is quite common to YouTubers out there, to sort of kick things off. But I don't think it's quite appropriate for this story. So we're going to just continue talking about this topic, which is that from the BBC, new rules proposed by Ofsted in the UK. UK
Peter, are you saying that in this case, we shouldn't just get into it?
No.
Yeah.
Let's get out of it, actually.
Okay. All right.
Is that what you were referring to?
I was referring to that, yes. Oh. Thank you, Mike, for spelling that out. Hang on. Can we do the hearts? No.
Peter's been playing with this thing that his camera does.
Yeah, because I'm on a Mac.
Well, we can't see it, Peter.
Just get back to the story.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there it is. Wow. Yeah, thank you, audio listener. You can't see that. Right. UK porn watchers could have faces scanned. This is an age protection thing for porn sites. Ofsted, which is the kind of UK media watchdog in the UK, has proposed. It's in the UK, but I don't know if I mentioned that. Is proposing restricting access to like Pornhub and the like by verifying people's ages through face scans, which is an entirely sensible measure as far as I can tell. I think it's very sensible and has no risks associated with it in the slices. So good episode done. Let's move on. Yeah, I know.
Well, no.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're like a Christian 90-year-old. Like,
no, I don't agree. But I was thinking from a implementation standpoint, it could be worse if they said your front facing camera will be always on, or that the scan image will be taken at any random point during the session of your porn viewing.
Be like, oh! You didn't want to see that, Mike. Is that why you cut me off there? Do my own face.
Good.
Okay.
Peter's. I can't tell how old he is. Why is he posing like a sex doll?
Sorry, that's not what I look like, by the way. For anybody.
Yeah. Good cover.
We would just have a whole episode of this. That would be great.
Oh God.
So the argument is that the privacy laws are going to be respected, and that the image scans will be deleted immediately, and that no data will be stored, which we know is absolute nonsense. Once you have that data, it's going to be hacked. Someone is going to leak people's. Oh God, it's just so ridiculous. People's
faces.
Yeah, there's a lot of arguments against this. Pornhub themselves said that basically what's going to happen is if they do require this, then everybody will start using VPNs, and that's it. That's the only effect that this will have. It's not actually going to stop kids looking at porn.
I think OFCOM in Great Britain said the acceptable methods of age verification include requiring
Ofsted is God, Ofsted is oh God, James, if you're watching, Ofsted is the teachers union, not the media watchdog.
Didn't I say Ofcom?
You were right. I was wrong.
Okay. So acceptable methods could include requiring government photographic ID, such as a passport, being provided to the site that you're trying to access, checking if the user had previously had age restrictions removed on the mobile phone, credit card checks, or digital ID wallets that store proof of age. And then there's some talk also of using this facial age estimation technology with AI as also an option.
It's just so dumb. I mean, pretty much all of those restrictions are dumb as far as I'm concerned. It's there's a balance between privacy and enforcing the rules, and this is way over the line. It's just, and what? Yeah. I mean, what harm is really? I mean, I don't know. That's actually a whole other question, isn't it?
We started talking about this before the show, and actually, I have a question about a possible solution. You can tell me why it won't work, but in the article, they do say, according to a survey, the average age children first view pornography, the average age is 13, which to me seems incredibly low. You guys seem to think that was unsurprising.
Not surprised. Right. Not even a little shocked.
The average age. There are as many.
I would have probably guessed 13.
Yeah, I think probably 12 or 13. I would have guessed. At least having some exposure to it, because
there are as many people younger than 13 being exposed to porn as there are people from the age of 13 to 18.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So here's my question.
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
Has it created a generation of monsters? Like,
right. And that's crazy you're saying that, Mike, because when you were 10 and old Grammy had you go to the store, you definitely snuck a peek at the adult magazine section. Zero chance you didn't.
By the way, for anybody who's listening on audio, Mike is visibly fluttering his eyelids and trying to think of a way to get out of this question.
Oh, no, you didn't? Or
I mean, you were curious, right?
Who wasn't?
You wanted a little peek at those. Did you go through? Did you get? I've got a question for you, Mike. I've got a question for you. Right? Did you used to get like those catalogs through the mail for like mail order sites, or not sites, shops and things?
The Sears catalog with lingerie models. Is that what you're going after?
Yes. Yeah. Did you look at the lingerie one? Did you?
I don't remember that. But to John's point, people saw pornography.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if the question is, what's the first time a child becomes aware that you could see a picture of a naked person, then maybe it's 13. So maybe the criteria for the survey were extremely loose. But if we're talking about, so the average, that means from 13 to 18 is 5 years. So from 8 to 18, it's an even distribution.
Well, it doesn't have to be even for it to be that average.
No, but like that's
this what that way could mean. To statistically and logically. The truth
that's what average means.
Well,
no, there's three different kinds of average. There's median, mode, and the other one.
The
mean, median, and mode. Right,
and
there's
mean.
three averages.
Listen, right? Because the 5-year-olds who are seeing porn are bringing the average down.
I think you're kind of crazy. Inventing.
I think your approach on this this is a terrible idea, because I'm sure that you're going to be able to game this system so easily, even without a VPN. And as soon as those little rats figure it out, that shit's going to spread like wildfire. And then two,
it's spread like an STD.
That's how many of these 12, 13, 14-year-olds are sneaking into their sister's or brother's room and stealing their mag or like whatever the equivalent is of the digital age of that. Like, I don't even know how old,
John?
I don't know how old I was. No, I never did. I'm not you. I don't know how old I was.
That was your example, though.
Yeah, for you, to make it relatable for you. I don't know how old. I don't know how old I was when my mom, I'll never forget it though, caught me like she like typed something on the family computer and the history showed up, of suggested. And she
how
was
John
like,
learned about incognito mode.
I'll never forget too, like the porn would load on dial-up. It'd be like half face,
one line at
full
a time.
face,
Yeah,
quarter titty.
I imagine, yeah,
down to the stomach, and it's like every time you get a new bit of a load, you're like, ah.
By the time it finishes loading, you don't even need the rest of the image.
You don't need
things like this really genuinely make me kind of angry because it seems like such a counterproductive measure. I get that people want to limit the access that young kids have to like hardcore pornography, but the real answer is like better education. It's education about consent, about like the New Zealand cybersecurity campaign, that the cyber awareness campaign that they did. That's much better. That kind of approach. It's the same thing with drugs. Like instead of treating it as like a criminal issue, they need to treat it as a health issue, which I think is the same thing here.
Yeah. So age verification.
Like
sorry.
They're treating people like criminals, it feels like.
Yeah. So age verification is just one version of identity verification, right? If they can identify who you are, if you can identify yourself, then you can identify how old you are. And you probably can't identify how old you are without identifying who you are. But maybe that's part of my question. There's a very popular authorization plugin that a lot of websites use called Auth0. And the benefit Auth0 provides is that you can integrate it with your website. So somebody authenticates with them and then comes to your site with a token. So they don't have to actually log into your site. They prove to Auth0 who they are. And then Auth0 just sends them with a permission ticket to get into your site, right?
Right.
Essentially. So why isn't something like that a solution for age verification?
Remember when the Auth0 got hacked? Anyone remember when they got hacked?
Exactly what I was
Anyone remember?
Yeah.
So
there's your one fault.
But by the way, did you hear about Okta experiencing a trust event recently?
That instead of affecting 3%, affected 100%.
Okta came back and we're like, actually, guys, it's all of you, and it's not that bad. I thought it was bad.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. It's first name, last name, and email.
Is this going to give me a Mac thing? No,
of all admins.
So yes, sites can be hacked, obviously, but would I rather have a company like Auth0 who specializes in security, is a single company?
I know what my answer is, yeah.
Or would I rather have every porn site on the internet have to collect my information individually?
Well, they
across
wouldn't.
All of them.
They would.
Can I rephrase that?
They would, because there's already age verification companies out there. Their whole role is this in America and probably in Europe. I forget what they're called. But when you buy vaping supplies online, there's this one firm that does digital fingerprinting, and it's all across all sites. It's the same fucking company that pops up.
Okay.
When you need to verify your age.
So is that as bad as using it for porn?
Look, can I?
Well, they store your data.
Mm-hmm.
They use your digital profile, your ad profile, a bunch of signals to have a confidence score based on a bunch of flags saying,
okay,
this is you.
Is that a problem?
Should we do that for children? Yeah, I think so. When it's a child.
No. Yeah. You wouldn't have to do it for children. You'd do it for the adults.
Yeah, you
and
would.
If you don't have it, you
would.
How?
You have to do it for kids as well. Because how do you know it's a kid?
Yeah.
You don't need to know it's a kid. You need to know it's not an adult.
No.
Right. So then you ask them to do the age verification process, and they fail. Where does that data? They just have to do that every time?
Or are they gonna just store that data. And then the kid's like, well, what happens when I put in a year up and up and up? They try to fucking
No. So
trick it.
First of all, you're not just asking them, presumably in this model. Because
no, but you do. You literally just ask. You say, how old are you?
That's not what you just described. You said when you buy vaping supplies, they use a service that has verified your age some other way, right?
Some other way.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I see what Mike's saying. I see.
But I put my age in. It says, how old are you? I put my birth date in.
To this other service.
To this other service.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we know you. Using the information you gave the site. We know you. We know you.
Right.
We're confident it's you. So you go ahead and make the purchase.
Right. So if a child shows up and doesn't have that information, then it's over.
They have to fill in a bunch of things.
No, you don't fill in a bunch of things. You don't have it.
Yes, you do. But Mike.
That's like saying I show up at the bank, or like I write somebody a check and then they find out that the bank doesn't actually have an account for me. And I say, well, I'll just make up a bunch of other stuff. My option is to go open a bank account, in which case now I have verification, or I can't open an account because I'm not actually old enough.
Wait.
May I?
Go ahead, Peter.
So, okay. I see what you're saying, Mike. I think when I said earlier that they have to store the information that their kid is wrong, so I take that back. I apologize. But my problem with this whole thing is the storage of the data in a central location. You asked the question, I would rather have one company that was specializing in security doing this centrally. And yeah, I can see where you're coming from. But another way to phrase that question is to say, would you rather there was one central database of everybody's information that could be hacked? I would rather they were separate databases, to be honest.
Separate databases how?
Well, as in more than one place I think that if there is just one place we've seen too many times that centralization of this kind of data is a bad thing. And usually then people who claim to be good at security are not good at security.
Then you're saying though, there is literally no solution.
I don't think that the proposed solution is viable. Correct. I think it's also the wrong thing to even try doing.
Is there any viable solution?
What, for age verification?
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it that much. I think it's a dumb idea for this kind of thing. I mean, there has to be some kind of age verification.
If age verification exists, it can be used for anything. So yes, kids should be taught about porn, and yes, there should be parental supervision and all those things. But just fundamentally, it's a question of age verification.
Well, okay, so then this is kind of a solved problem in a lot of industries. KYC, or know your customer, is something that a lot of companies do, especially like betting companies and things like that. They do a certain level of due diligence to ensure that the people who are using their services, which should be limited to age-restricted people, are limited to those people. And it seems to work okay. I know in the gambling industry, in the iGaming industry, that the different licensing authorities have imposed different rules and regulations that gambling companies have to abide by. And KYC is a big part of that. And they have to do things like check passports or driving license or stuff like that. And they have to store that information because they need to know that for the future. And but there's restrictions about its storage. It's like a standard, it's a thing.
So there is a solution. And your argument is that KYC just shouldn't apply to porn?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I mean, but not because of the technical capabilities, but because of the fact that it's really kind of just pointless for porn. And I think that the idea of going heavy on age verification for porn
how is it more pointless for porn than gambling?
Because you can ruin your life through gambling much more easily than you can through porn. In my opinion, this is an opinion show, right?
But I think that there's also something that I think you're super duper forgetting is like these kids that are potentially being exposed to porn are also exposed to some terrible things just in media, not even on the internet, but just like in the movie theaters.
Can we
We're
get
not
age
even
verification
movie theaters
for
anymore.
Fox News,
just on my puppy's Netflix, I'm fucking watching God knows what. And you want to protect the children, stop showing them mass murder and gore.
I thought we didn't do whataboutism on this show.
Yeah.
Well, I do think it's a bit different. It isn't even whataboutism, because you're saying that this is a justifiable way of protecting the children. Then we should protect the children in every way.
So if we can't do everything, then we shouldn't do anything.
That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that porn isn't good enough of a threat, or bad enough, I guess, of a threat to a child, that there's just nothing to do there. I'm with Peter.
I think
100%.
porn's not good enough either.
But I'm just saying it's not a strong enough candidate for me to do.
I heard what you said.
KYC on fucking 15-year-old who wants a quick wank before bed. Like, sorry, it's just, we're talking about just not. It is not that big of a deal. It's not that important.
But it's not the 15-year-olds that they're most concerned about. It's the 7-year-olds.
Okay, then legit have better control and awareness of your kids. If your 7-year-old is able to access Pornhub, that's a fucking problem. That's a you problem as a parent. That's a you failure.
So then why isn't that the case for vaping supplies and gambling and everything else? Like,
it is
true. It is. But I guess one difference is, like, this is purchased, right? Porn is not purchased, I mean, generally, anymore.
Well, I mean, your parents don't let their 7-year-old kids wander around vape shops either.
Right.
I mean, they don't.
Or alcohol shops.
If a 7-year-old wandered into a vape shop, their parent would go, "No, Billy, out." Actually, say,
sure, but then you don't say. But then you don't make the argument that vape shops should be allowed to sell to anybody who walks in, because it's their parents' responsibility to keep them from wandering through the front door.
Are vape shops allowed to advertise to whoever they want?
Yeah. Vape shops don't check my ID
because it's not
either.
about selling, Mike. It's not about selling. These porn sites aren't selling anything to you. They are showing you things. So is it allowed? Is it allowed to show nicotine consumption to kids? Is it allowed to show gun usage to kids? Is it allowed to? Right. This is the difference here.
So if it's a subscription site,
I'm using good.
If it's a subscription site that you pay for, age verification is important, but if you're just giving it away, age verification doesn't matter. That's the distinction.
No, that's definitely not the distinction. Now you're just picking bullshit.
No, but that's what you said. They're not selling something; they're giving it away.
No, I said they're advertising it.
Why don't anybody who's interested in more of this, please do like and subscribe. We don't actually.
Are you trying to get us out of this episode? Oh my God, it's been 22 minutes. Okay, let's be done.
Yes, I am.
Mike is wrong. I'm right.
You know, I do the editing.